Here we have a bit of fun in the Type 62 on Himmelsdorf. I have no idea how to use light tanks on this map, as should be evident from any of my games where I've played light tanks on it. It's about the worst possible map for me in these things, but sometimes I just manage to make it work, mostly through luck, and this is one of those times. So this isn't top level play you're likely to see, but you will see some pretty amusing pubby antics from me and from the other players in the match. So too many people are going hill for me to go up there as well, and besides which I'm going to have no survivability up there, so I decided not to go uphill. Instead I decided to come down, but for some reason I haven't actually quite worked out. I decided to go heavy alley instead of just cutting across into the rail yards. I guess I think I predicted that some of their TDs or mediums or something would go to the rail yard, and so it would be a bad idea to go there. Either way, heavy alley was a worse idea because, oh look, there's an IS-8. So, like the Comet, I get as far away from him as possible. I was hoping for a little shot on this 1375 here, but unfortunately I whiffed it, and then he got into cover. Our team takes the hill pretty convincingly, so actually I would have been fine if I was up there. Funnily enough, 1375 dives on our T29, so I jump in to help him. Unfortunately here I fuck up. I drive out into the street, stupidly thinking that the enemy IS-8 would have the presence of mind to shoot the heavy tank. No, he shoots the light tank instead, and knocks off nearly half my hit points. And this replay is very jittery for some reason. Very, very jittery. Anyway, I cut through the middle. I was planning on just trying to pincer that IS-8, but he obviously cottoned on because he's pulling back into the street I'm now driving down. And here I find myself in a bit of a predicament. I've actually pincered myself. Thankfully, that shot manages to light the T29 on fire, and he's an idiot and also very bad at aiming. And with a 6-second reload time, he is using the 76mm gun. He gets dealt with, and the IS-8 starts trying to chase me around the building. Now, I don't know if he realizes this, but a light tank is a bit smaller and a bit faster than a heavy tank, even an IS-8, so I just circled back around behind him actually. I ignore him for now and let my team look into him, and pop up this street looking for some easy damage. First shot whiffs, and unfortunately gets the T69's attention, but I do get a cheeky shot into the target before I back around the corner. Here the 25-2 is what actually damaged me, so I pop one into him as well. I would like to kill him, but I really can't afford to trade damage with him. One more hit from him will kill me. So I pull back and decide to just dive on the IS-8, who is somehow not dead yet, even though our team has him pincered. Our IS, curiously, is reversing towards the enemy. So I cut in and dive on this guy, since I can't trust our IS to do anything. Managed to set him on fire. This one actually has an extinguisher though, even if he is slow to set it off, but I managed to secure the kill anyway. He then goes on to blame the rest of his team for the fact he's got himself surrounded and basically did nothing all game, except shoot light tanks. So I cut through here. Then I notice the T-32 is looking right at me. Thankfully he's a bad shot. I managed to scoot up here. I was looking to get a kill on that 103, but I get the worst bounce ever. I think it just grazed high, hit the top of his engine deck and bounced off the bottom of his turret. Looking at the angle it would have come in at, but I don't know. Either way, I then proceed to bounce 2 shots off the T-32, which gets his attention, and I overstayed my welcome. But at least my 3rd shot went in. So 2200 damage in my Type 62 in a tier 9 match on Himmelsdorf. We've got to clown a couple of bads and just generally be an annoying little asshole, which is what I like to do in my light tanks other than spot things. And here we see some spectacular decision making from our IS-8, who decides to ram a Panther 2 and does more damage to himself in the process, because I actually think the Panther 2 weighs more than him, or about the same, something like that. Either way, when I do play my light tanks, which isn't very often, I don't like to get Himmelsdorf games, but sometimes they just work out, and when they do, it's usually pretty fun. And this was one of those times. Type 62 is a really fun little tank. I'm glad I picked it up when I did. It's basically a Wheezy 131 with the middle 85mm gun, not the lowest one and not the top gun, but the sort of middle one, which I have videos of me using on the Wheezy 131 when I was grinding through that. I think it also doesn't have quite as powerful an engine. There are a bunch of other slight differences, but it's very, very similar to the Wheezy 131. It plays basically identically to it. It's a good crew trainer for the Chinese light tank line, if you plan on going through it, which you should, because they're fun tanks to play and certainly worth keeping around. And not only that, it's just good for sort of laid back credit making, because I mean, it's a premium tank, so you're going to make credits in it pretty much no matter what you do, and it's also quite easy to just play in. You'll have frustrating games where your team don't shoot your spotted targets, or where you get one shot by things, but it's a lot less exhausting, I guess, a lot less fatiguing to play 2-credit grind than, say, the Type 59 or the Löwe or the KV5 or any of the other premiums, even the T34. Just because it's a small, fast tank. It really is quite good for whatever you want to use it for. It's good at killing things, it's good at spotting. Perhaps not as good at killing things as the Type 59 is, or any of the other tanks I just named, actually, but you know what I mean, it's flexible and it's fast and it's fun. You don't have to lumber around the place bored out of your skull like you do in the Löwe, or have to worry about hull down positioning like the T34, or have to actually tussle with other mediums like the Type 59 does. There's not really any pressure on you to carry games. You're playing a light tank. Most people don't expect light tanks to even survive more than 30 seconds, let alone do well in a match. So I guess what I'm saying is that light tanks are basically my play for fun tanks, and if I don't want to get myself whipped up into a rage playing my mediums or heavies, that's what I tend to go to. This isn't available in the store, I don't believe, at the moment. Periodically it comes up again in packages or for special events. When it does, I would definitely suggest getting one. It's a lot of fun to play. If you can't get one for whatever reason, you can't really justify the cost, or say it doesn't come back in the shop again, just get a Wheezy 131. It's the same thing. The only difference is it's not premium. But 2 very fun tanks, 3 very fun tanks if you include the 132, which is very, very similar to both this and the Wheezy 131. Technically they're all the same tank, just different variations on it. I mean, I'm planning on going back and playing through the Chinese mediums at some point, but the light tanks were just really, really, really fun. Really enjoyable, sort of laid-back tanks to play, and actually quite good from a stats, but not stats, but from an actual performance perspective. That's what I should say. Like, the tanks themselves perform quite well until the T71. Actually, they were the best light tanks in the game, and so I mean, what's not to like?